Hello, everyone. This is Ella Shawn, the ADHD cutie, bringing a new series to you entitled Color and Converse. My very first guest I'm so excited to have with me, Miss Estella Toni Igus. She too is a single mom of 5 children and 9 grandchildren. I believe I got that right.
Mhm.
Um, Tony has a very unique story, probably not unique to some, but definitely to others. Uh, Tony has recently lost her baby girl, which was also the baby of the family. And that was trauma within itself, but she has been able to slowly but surely get back on her feet. It didn't consume her, she didn't get lost in that grief like many of us can do. I know I did for a while, but she's finding her way back. So I'm going to let Tony talk and share her story.
Good evening or good afternoon, everyone. Like I said, like Lillian was saying, I lost my daughter August the 25th, 2021, from a disease that might most people might not know about, but it's Huntington disease. It's a very deadly disease that attacks the brain. There is 3 stages to this disease, and in the third stage, you will be a total vegetable where we will have to take care of her. We have to do everything for her. We had to do any and everything to make sure she stayed comfortable. So we found out that it's hereditary. So she got it from her dad, which he also passed away in October of 2016 from the disease, Huntington disease. It's not an easy thing to watch your loved one, especially your child, just lay there and can't do anything or can't really express what they want to express. You can see the pain in their faces, but it's like you can't do anything for them because you trying your best to just be there to help them to get through their time. So my daughter, when she passed away, it was a rough time for me. I didn't know how I was going to make it from day to day. I didn't want to get out the bed. I didn't want to eat. I just didn't want to be around people. I just stayed in the house and cried and cried and cried.
Okay.
And
Tony, let me ask you a question before we get into that. I'm going to save that towards the end, how you made it out or how you're making it out of that. Um, now, she wasn't born with this, or was she?
as far as I
Or maybe
know,
it lay dormant and it just
it
symptoms
was
started
there.
showing up. So symptoms started showing up as she got older.
Well, the first time I recognized that she could possibly had it is when she was pregnant.
How
It
old was she then?
agitated. She was 20 when we found out she had it. She was 23,
Okay. And
and
when she passed, how old was she?
she was 29 when she passed.
So 6 years. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. And you said she had it. You found out she had it when she was pregnant.
When she was pregnant
Are
with
her
her first child,
are her children at risk?
they could be because it's hereditary.
Right. So do the doctors test them
They're too
for it?
young right now. They said they wouldn't be able to detect it, but
Detect
when
it.
they get
Okay.
older, they will have to.
Okay. So go ahead. They discovered it when she was pregnant, or you recognized it when she was
I
pregnant. Um,
recognize
what are some of the symptoms that you were recognizing?
the just her speech was slur. She was always losing her balance, and I was like, that's the first because I never seen her do that. But from the whatever situation with her father, he was doing the same thing, and the family couldn't figure out what was wrong. until they did a blood test. That's how you find out. It's through a neurologist or a blood test. And I just started noticing certain things about her was off. And I'm like, something ain't right. A mother knows her child. So I was like, something ain't right. So I ended up taking her to the specialist, to the neurologist. She got the blood test, and when it came back, it said she had Huntington disease. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, so what do we do for her? And this is how the doctor said it. There is not too much you can do. The only thing we can do is give her medication to keep her, from the
Comfortable.
pain.
Hmm.
I was like, there's no cure. There's no cure for it. None whatsoever. It's in the same category as Parkinson. There's medicine for Parkinson, but there's no medicine for Huntington. They're working on it. And I'm like, well, she's already gone. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need
Now,
me. I mean, I still.
for you as a single mom, hearing that news about your child, especially your baby girl,
Hmm.
youngest of the family, how did that make you feel? How did that affect you? Because I'm sure it took a toll on
It did.
so,
Uh, when they first told me,
and the family.
yeah, when they told me that, I was angry for one, and I was hurt for two. I was like, so you mean to tell me I'm going to lose my child, and there's nothing nobody can do? He said, no, there's nothing we can do for her. As I felt like they gave up. It could have been something else that they could have done, but that's my opinion. But doctors are going to tell you what they want to tell you.
Now,
But
did you find out that it was hereditary before she got it or after she got it?
after, I didn't even know anything about it. And I was trying to figure out, like, well, how did her father get it? So it's someone in his family that has it, but they don't know who. So that means some of his family members have passed away. They could have had it and didn't even know it.
Hmm.
So
Now,
now I want to get it out.
did you find out about his him having Huntington's? Did you know that prior to her birth or prior to her getting it, or you found out
No, I found out
after?
later, after he was diagnosed, because we was divorced, so I didn't really talk to him like that. And then I found
Mhm.
out through his grandma that he had it.
Oh, okay. So you found
Yeah,
out much later.
much later. I found out where the point he was already about to pass on. That's when I really
Oh,
found out
wow.
about it. He was in the
Wow.
last stage of it. I was like, so y'all couldn't tell me from the day that he got it? But I knew something was wrong with him too. I kept saying that. I said, something is not right. They kept looking at me like I was crazy. And I was like, I know what I'm talking about. I was married to this man for 12 years.
Now,
And
is
that's what,
the daughter that passed, her name is Brittany, is she the only daughter you had with him?
no, I have one daughter and one son with him. He has an older son as well. The one I've raised him as well. So
Now, those two sons, have they been checked for Huntington as well? Because you
no,
said
not yet.
it's hereditary. Have they been tested?
No, they haven't gotten
Are they
tested. They need
are
to.
they gonna be tested? Yeah, they definitely need to. Are they going to be tested, or I mean, do
Yeah,
they
they said they was going.
understand?
They most definitely they're going to get tested.
Okay, okay. How do they feel about losing their sister and that they could possibly have the same fate?
They was hurt. We knew that she was going to pass, but we thought we had more years with her, maybe at least one or two. But
Hmm.
the Lord said, "No, I'm ready for her now. She's tired."
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's hurt. Their brother and sister, they hide their feelings just like I do, and they're personal. They don't tell a lot of people their personal stuff.
All right.
And
Especially males. They just they're not
no,
taught to share. They're not taught to share. They're not taught to. express their emotions, it's seen as a weakness here in the States.
Yeah,
But that's a whole nother subject. But
it
you know,
is.
I but I say God showed his emotions. Jesus wept plenty of
Yeah.
times. There's times of him crying in the Bible. So what was he a punk too? Come on now.
No.
They're human
No.
first. They're human first. So
Yeah.
okay, so she passed away. Um, if it's not too difficult for you to talk about, can you tell us about that at that time when she passed? What happened that day or leading up to
Well,
that? Can you take us through that?
it was my birthday month. It was in August. So I had put in, because I used to put her in respite. Like if I needed a break, I would put her in a respite home for 5 days so she, can have time away from the house and I could have a break.
Okay,
So
for
this
for for those who don't know, what is respite? Is that the same as
respite,
hospice? Or is that different?
it's not really hospice. It's like a nursing home. It's
Okay.
almost made like a nursing home where she can go and stay for 5 days and come back home.
Now is 5 days the maximum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, unless you plan on putting them in there permanently. Now, if you put them in there permanently, she has to stay there at the
Oh,
place.
there's no checking her out and coming back home.
So
Okay.
that's where she'll be. That's
Okay.
where she would have been
So you made arrangements for her to go there while you were going to be
going
going for your
away for my
birthday.
birthday.
Okay.
And it was the 17th. I can remember this day because my birthday is August 17th. So that day, I got her ready for her to go. And she looked at me. She just kept looking at me like, "Ma, I don't want to go. Ma, I don't want to go." I was like, "Well, Mama need a little break for a little while." Said, "I will see you later." But she didn't know at that time that I was leaving her there permanently. I didn't
Mm.
say nothing to her. But as the days went by, I was out of town. I checked on, I called to make sure she was okay. And sometimes I wouldn't get nobody. So when I got back off my little vacation, I went to work. They kept calling me from the place, and I was trying to figure out what do y'all want now. I gave you everything you need. What y'all want now? I did not know they was calling me until uh, I called them back. I talked to the lady that owns. Well, she's the manager of Fort Washington nursing home. That's where she was,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Miss Igus, I'm sorry to tell you, your daughter is gone." And now, mind you, I'm at work. I'm at work. Is she was alive at 9 o'clock that morning. 9:30, my child was gone. So I'm asking, what happened?
Wow. Okay, there was no working on her, no trying to revive
Nope,
her. Nobody contacted you then to say
no,
she's in trouble, she's in distress. Can you get here? None of that.
no, no. Nobody called me to say that. They just called me and told me that she died. She passed. But I didn't
Wow.
want her to be resuscitated anyway. I made that clear. Just
Okay.
let her go. Don't let her suffer. So, but
Wow.
still to call me at work and to tell me that, and I had to leave my job because I had to go do the paperwork and all that other stuff. But when I got there, just seeing her laying there, and I said to myself, well, she's at peace now. And it's like she was staring, her eyes was open. It's like she was staring at something that was in front of her. I don't know what it would have been, but
Hmm.
I'm asking the doctors and everything. I was like, so can you tell me what happened? One doctor said that she was eating breakfast. Everything was normal that morning, and he said when he went back, she was gone. So what happened in between 9 o'clock and 9:30? Did she choke on the food, or did she fall out the bed? Because they had no rails on her bed. and it was just regular flooring. Like, did she fall, hit her head on the floor?
And when
Nobody
they
was
found
really.
her, was she out of bed? What
They
did they
did.
say?
They didn't say. They just said she passed away, and that was it.
So that's pretty much like not knowing what really happened to her those final hours.
No, I don't know what happened.
Mhm.
I would like to know, and they didn't even do an autopsy on her. The thing they put on her death certificate, and what I thought they was going to put, is what she had, the disease. I said no, something still don't seem right. It had to be something else. But
But
nevertheless,
did you ask them to do an autopsy, or you just figured that they would do it?
I figured they would do it automatically, but they
Yeah,
said no, I had to request it. I said I
yeah, you have to
never,
request it, right? Yeah,
like, nobody told me
yeah,
that.
right. Because unless you've been through this, you're not gonna know. That's not
No,
something you just automatically know. You know, it's definitely strange circumstances. So why wouldn't they do
yeah,
an autopsy? You would think that, but no, you got to request it.
yeah, I didn't know that. If I would known that, I would have got it, because I don't think it was just a disease. It was something
Right.
else,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like they were covering something up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's okay. She's at peace.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you go from that to where you are now? Because you seem to be very much at peace. You seem to be moving on with your life. So how did you go from that devastation to finding some peace for yourself?
It took a lot of prayer, for one, to ask the Lord to help me to get through that. I mean, no mother wants to bury their child. No mother
Mm-hmm.
or no
Mm,
father. That's
right.
a very difficult thing to do. And I never thought that I would have to be the one to deal with that. But
Right.
it took me some time. It's still taking me time to understand that my child is not here.
Right.
I'm expecting to walk out in that front room to see her right there. So I'm still going through the grieving. What, even though it's been since 2021, but that's a
Mm-hmm.
child. That's my child. So it's
And
different.
grieving is different for everybody. I remember when my dad passed, my adoptive dad. And it was like a month or so later, and people are acting like you should just be over it. It's been a month, you should be over it. No, you don't get to tell me how long I should be dealing with this.
Right.
So, oh, and just to remind you, Tony, it's color and converse. So, we can color while you're talking.
Okay.
If you have your color, I know we forgot all about that. We got swept up in the conversation, but that's okay. If you feel like coloring, yeah, please do color. So, okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
And my bishop and the co-pastor and those and my church, my brother, they've been right there by my side, and they always kept me in prayer. Sometimes I didn't want to talk, and sometimes I just didn't want to be bothered, but they understood. And now to get through it, I cry sometimes still at night, and I've been finally getting to the point where I can talk about it. It still is a sore subject, and I be trying to hold
Mhm.
back the tears, but um, it's just nights I just cry, and because I miss her, and I was like, it's not the same anymore, because it was always me and her, and it's just hard. It's hard with any mom that loses a child. It's hard, but you deal with it. You keep going each and every day, but you keep their memory alive, whether it's talking about it or doing other things. Like, she liked painting, so I said I was going to start buying some paintings and just paint, and that'll be my soothing part for her. Her favorite color is purple, and she loves Betty Boop. So I said I was gonna get either a Betty Boop coloring book if I can find one, or something pertaining to Betty Boop for her, and just keep her memory alive. That's
Mhm.
the only way I can do it. I know she's not here physically anymore, but she's still in here. And some nights when I can feel a cold breeze, I be thinking it's the fan. No, it's her. And she'll
Alright,
come
yeah.
kiss me on my cheek and say, Mom, I'm all right. And then I'll go to
Mhm.
sleep. But
I remember when I lost my dad, and one day I was driving to work, and there was this bright light. I mean, like blinding bright light in the seat right next to me.
mm,
And I just knew. I was like, that's him.
that was him.
He's riding with me. That was him.
Yeah,
Yep. So for you, it was your faith that's pulling you through, and it's still bringing you through that to turn that pain into purpose.
yeah.
So you mentioned wanting to tell your story. What does that look like for you? What do you have plans to do? What would you like to do with that?
For one, I want to get out about a Huntington disease because some people have been asking me, what is it? And
Mhm. Understanding. Yep, understanding, knowledge.
I tell them about it, and they was like, "Wow, I never heard of it." I said, "Well, think of Parkinson. It's in the category of that. It's just there's no cure for what she has, but it's cure for well, it's not really a cure for Parkinson. They just give them
Mhm.
medication to calm it down. And the same
Mhm.
thing with her, it was the pain mostly. She was always in pain,
Mhm.
and I would give her the medication that they told her to give, but she would have little episodes and stuff where she was immune to the medication. It didn't. It got to the point where it
Yeah.
wasn't working
Your
for her.
body gets used to it. Mhm.
Yeah, and she would just
Body gets
cry
used to it.
sometimes, and I'm like, Lord, I said, please give me the strength to deal with it because I can't do nothing.
Mhm.
And I couldn't understand her. With one thing I could say, and it was just the plainest day. I was just sitting here one day, and God said, if she was sick like that and in pain, and she didn't complain, why are you? I was like, you know what? That's a good question.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
what are you
That's
complaining
powerful.
for?
That's
I was
powerful.
like,
Yeah.
oh my God. But she brought so much joy to a lot of people. She did. But she didn't care what nobody thought about her, what they think about. She didn't care about any of that. She just cared about living. And the best part that happened, she got saved before she left this. So I knew where she was going. I just didn't know when at that time. But I knew she was going where she was going to be, where she needs to be.
That's a wonderful feeling right there. That right there alone can give you some peace.
Yeah,
That can give you some
it
peace.
is. I say to any parent, uh, if you see anything like movements of your child is falling or off balance or the speech is starting to get slurred, go get it
Yeah.
checked because
Get
it
that
could be
checked because
anything.
that's not normal. Yes, that is
No,
not normal. And you're absolutely right. It could be several things. You need to
yeah,
know.
you really need
Medicine
to
has
know.
come so far nowadays. You need to know what you're dealing with. I
Yeah,
say the same thing. I say the same thing for my ADHD channel. That you got to get them tested and find out what it is you're dealing with because many symptoms of ADHD mimic so many other
hmm,
things. And
it
you're
does.
treating the symptoms and not the cause. It's not going to work.
No,
It's
it's
not going
not.
to work. The symptoms are
No,
going to come back. Until you treat the root cause, the symptoms are going to come back. You got to know what you're dealing with. You've got to.
yeah, I didn't
Those
know
days
what
of
I was dealing
those
with.
days of sweeping it under the rug and we're just gonna pray it away. And okay, God gave us common sense also.
Yes, he
He
did.
gave us doctors and specialists and all that for a reason. So
Yeah.
You asking for help, he's giving you the help. Use it. That's what
Yeah,
they're
that's
here
true.
for.
That is so
So,
true.
yeah. So, do you have any final thoughts, final words that you would want to say to any parent who's going through this, or a parent who suspects that something may be wrong, but
Only thing
not
I want to
sure or
say,
scared to find out?
yeah. The only thing I can say is take your child to be tested. When you see something that's not right, I don't care if it's a twitch or whatever. If it's something that you notice about your child that's not right and is off, go get them checked, because you don't know what it could be. It could be cancer, it could be anything. You just got to go check. We as parents don't want to do it sometimes, but to save yourself and your child, it's best to do it. When I first seen that my daughter was off, that's the first thing I did. Made an appointment to make sure it wasn't nothing else that I thought, and that's when the Huntington disease came up. And that's the only
Hmm.
thing I can say.
Yeah, I got a lot of criticism when my son was still a baby. He had to have glasses when he was first born because
Mm.
he tore the retina in his right eye when he was coming through the birth canal.
Oh
So it
wow.
was full of blood. So he's having vision issues all along.
Mm.
And he had to have glasses when he was 3 months old. Well, nobody had ever heard of that. They didn't even know where to begin to do that. They were like, well, we can find him some glasses when he's a year. I'm like, we can't wait a year.
Mm.
He needs them now. So
Yeah.
I had to figure that out. I had to do some research, calling, uh, whatever I had to do to get him the help he needed. I'm like, he cannot wait. And
Mm-mm.
of course, everybody has something to say. He's so young, he's just, or maybe you just need some attention, or you just trying to give him some extra attention with
No.
eyeglasses. Really,
No.
really.
If
Yeah,
you
there was
don't
all
know,
kinds. Everybody has something to say. Okay, unless you're walking in my shoes,
right. You
yeah,
don't have nothing to say.
zip
You
it,
can't
zip it.
say anything. You don't know.
You don't know, so just keep it on mute because
Yeah,
you don't know.
you really don't.
You don't know.
And a lot of kids used to, well, I know some young girls, like when before Brittany couldn't walk and stuff like that, and she used to walk in the mall with us, and she had problems of walking. She was staggering sometimes. And these young ladies walked past us and was laughing. And I'm like, what do you find that's so funny? The way she's walking. I said, well, have you ever thought that something might be wrong with my daughter? Why you laughing at her? I said, it could be you, your sister, your friends, your mom, your dad. It could be anybody. I said, so before you laugh at anybody, you make sure you know what you're laughing at. I said, do
That's
not
right.
laugh at my child. It's hard enough for her to have to deal with the fact that she won't be able to get around and things like that. And for you to be laughing, it's not funny.
That's
And
not
then,
fun. It's not. It's not cool. It's not respectable. It's not. It's like they just have no empathy. They don't. They can't put themselves in other people's shoes,
right,
and they really think that they're invincible. This can't happen to me.
it can.
That,
Anything can
that
happen.
would never happen to me. Yeah, you don't know God's plan. So
That's right. We didn't know God's plan for her, but it was His plan, and His plan not for her to put it on her or anything like that, but it was just in God's plans. So now she don't
and
have to
and
suffer.
we don't always understand it,
No,
but you are using that to get the word out. Because, like you said, so many people have never heard of Huntington's.
no,
They don't know
they
what it
haven't.
is, never heard of it. Exactly. Exactly. So he's using that trauma to get that word out. to get
Yeah,
understand. Absolutely.
and it feels good to talk about it. That eases up
Absolutely.
some of
See,
the pain.
because especially, in the black communities, here we go again, we don't talk about that stuff, what goes on in the house stays on in the house and all of that. No, those days are over.
Right.
Are over. You
You can
can't
have,
fix what you won't face, and we have been broken for too long.
yeah, we have.
And that may have worked back in the day, but today is a brand new day. We cannot afford to stay like this anymore. We just can't.
No, we can't.
We
Uh,
can't.
these are
We
young
need
people.
help. Yes, we need help, and we need to be okay with asking for that help. And we don't have to be telling people that we're asking. Nobody's asking you to broadcast it. Go get
Right.
the help you need for yourself. Nobody said you have to tell a soul about it.
That's
You
right.
don't. You
I
don't.
needed
Even
help.
something as shameless as ADHD, I'm like, it's not a shameful thing. Once you understand what ADHD really is and what it's not, it really takes the shame off of it. It's
Right.
a neurological disorder. That means a brain thing. It's
Yeah.
how our brains are structured
And function.
and how they function.
Yeah. I had to learn
That
about
is
that.
not something that we have control over. So you're not going to shame me for that.
No.
I'm taking the power back. You don't get to do that.
No. You don't have that choice.
Mhm. You don't get to do that. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now that I
Mhm.
know, and when you know better, you do better. Now that I know, no, ma'am. No, sir. You don't
Yeah.
get to do that. Take a look at yourself before you start throwing stones in a glass house.
Yeah. That is man, that's so true.
Hmm.
But I just
Hmm.
want to help someone else that's dealing with the same thing with Huntington disease. I just want to help people, period. No matter what it is. It could be anything. I just want to be there to let them know it's okay not to be okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Tony, if somebody would want to get in touch with you, or if they want to reach out to you, maybe have a conversation or ask questions or just have some support from one mother
Hmm.
to another,
Right.
how would they get in touch with you?
Or they can either call my phone, but on Monday through Fridays I work 10 to 7, so I wouldn't be able to answer my phone until after I get off at 7 o'clock. They can do that, or they can either email me at estellaigus@gmail.com.
Okay, so that's Estella, Estella at gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that is our time for today. Again, this is Ella Shawn, the ADHD cutie, along with Miss Estella Toni Igus for our very first session of Color and Converse. Of course, we didn't do much
Yes.
coloring, but that's okay. I started.
Well, I'll
We can't
start.
even see it. We can't even see it. Okay. Yeah, I started, but hey. Okay, so we will continue on this series. Not sure how often we're going to be doing it, but I've got to get some guests and get this thing going so other single moms can come on here and tell their stories, especially if
Yes.
you're a single mom uh, with a child that has maybe a neurological issue like me and my son, ADHD, um,
Mhm.
autism. A lot of parents out there with children with
Yes.
autism and on the
Yes.
autism spectrum. Reach out, ADHDcutie at gmail.com. I would love to bring you on and you can tell your story here.
Mhm.
Single moms who are dealing with the adult elderly parents who are now sick, they're
Yeah.
having to deal with that. Or there could be single moms that have multiple children. Well, one child has this neurological disorder. The other child could have a physical disorder.
Mhm.
That is a lot to
Yes,
deal
it
with
is.
as a single mom. That's a whole lot. Plus, you still got to go to work and all of the other things that we do with that superwoman mentality. Yeah, them days are over. I burned that
Yeah.
damn cape. Burn the supermom cape. I'm not, and I cannot be. I'm not trying to be. No, burn the cape.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a new day. It's a new day.
It's a new
So
day.
yeah, please reach out to me. Anybody who would like that support, who wants to have their story heard. ADHDcutie at gmail.com. And we will look forward to seeing you next time. I will still be doing my Sunday sessions, my Sunday snippet sessions. So look for that tomorrow. And we are out of here. Thank
All
you
right.
again, Miss Tony.
Have a good one.